Most music students spend an entire education in music playing from sheet music with distant, disconnected names in the upper right-hand corner. For all of the many opportunities available to modern music students that provide experiences in performance, music history, music technology, and music literacy, we have yet to see advancements that bring content creators into the reach of performers at the scholastic level. The composition experience is an academically focused experience project designed to provide music educators with a means to bring life to that distant, disconnected name and provide their students with a fresh, integrated understanding of how the music they perform and listen to comes to them. While music educators frequently seek out such opportunities to include in their academic planning, cost and accessibility are often insurmountable obstacles to providing experience-based forays into music composition. It is the goal of the composition experience to help students in providing this last dimension of the music education process in a practical and accessible manner in order to create personal experiences that students can take with them for a lifetime, regardless of their ultimate career paths.
All right, so Darryl, can you just give some information about who are you and what do you do?
Okay, so obviously my name is Darryl Johnson II, and I'm a composer. So I'm from the Los Angeles area, and obviously I write band and orchestra music. And in addition to writing band and orchestra music, I am a music transcriptionist, meaning that I create sheet music for people looking for to play things that don't have music existing already that they need sheet music for. And then I'm also a clinician, so I tour the country working with high schools and middle schools around different parts of the country on musical issues, talking about music composition, talking about music in relation to film, to the other humanities, and between the three of those things, that's what keeps me pretty busy.
All right, I know you mentioned that you traveled. Can you just mention some places where you recently have traveled this past year?
This particular semester is, I don't remember the exact number, but I think it's somewhere in the realm of 16 to 18 states. So I started up in Chicago and went down the center: Chicago, Missouri, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Mississippi, and Kansas. And then I did the Mid-Atlantic states: New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. Then over to the northern Midwest: Michigan, Wisconsin, Iowa, Indiana, and randomly Alabama.
Oh yeah, sounding good at Park Hill High School. The symphonic band had a special guest conductor today. Instead of the normal teacher, composer Darryl Johnson worked with the band. The Park Hill Symphonic Band is performing one of Johnson's works next month. Johnson is a native of California. The Meet the Composer program around the country arranges for students to meet the writers of the works they're performing.
Johnson II is the composer of Windsor Castle and stopped by to hear students play. Johnson says he was quite impressed by the sounds of these aspiring musicians.
This was a particularly good school. They had a high school piece, even though they're a middle school, and they knocked it out of the park.
He's a very good composer. He really knows how to get in with detail with the students.
Scottsbluff is just one city that Johnson visited. He has been touring throughout the Midwest to help spread his musical experience and expertise to classrooms.
Every year, schools in the Hawkeye State rank near the top for music education, and it's no wonder why. In this week's Beyond the Books report, CBS 2 News reporter Connor Morgan explains how some McKinley Middle School students are getting a chance to learn music from the man who composed it.
The bell ringing isn't the only sound you'll hear at McKinley Middle School. Band students are gearing up for a spring concert. And who better to teach them than the composer of the music they're preparing to play?
Oh, he's wonderful. I mean, he just was so good with the kids.
Darryl Johnson II is a California composer whose music is catching on in the corridor. So the composer is stopping by to teach students the meaning of melodies.
We are going to drive to music, walk to music, work to music, marry to music, die to music. Music will be a part of everything that we do. And so to the degree that students are able to understand and appreciate music is to the degree that they'll be able to understand and appreciate life.
The students aren't the only ones learning. While the middle schoolers are playing notes, band director Elizabeth Driscoll is taking them.
I've got to make sure that I'm being honest with the composer's intent and understanding what they want their music to sound like, and so hopefully being able to be true to the music, but also of knowing my students and to get them to live up to that as well.
also learn a lot from the students as far as what teachers need, what students like, and what audiences want to hear. And it helps me in turn to become a better composer for them.
More than music on the page, Driscoll says she wants students to pursue their passions.
Seeing that, there's someone who can make a living doing this and have fun and follow their passion. So I'm hoping that maybe inspires some of them to think about, oh, okay, I can keep doing this and keep trying.
The content of the sessions will vary according to your priorities, but the most popular option is an ensemble setting, which would involve me conducting your ensembles and coaching them on the performance while providing additional background about the piece and allowing time for Q&A.
What do you notice about what happens at measure 21 that's different than what happens before?
It goes into forte.
It goes into forte, and the downbeat is what? Accented. And so when you have a section like this, the composer has a soft section, a gentle section, and then immediately you have accents and fortes. What we're telling you is we want a sharp, strong contrast. So when we get to measure 21, be ready to come in solidly and confidently. Don't delay on that. Let's take it at B. Growing, 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 right? You all played, and the people who didn't have the melody, you did a good job of saying, no, this is not the melody. Always be thinking about where your part fits into what's going on. That was an excellent observation, and good job as a group of no one playing the part with the melody, which I expected someone to, but no one did, so very good. Now, when we played at that time, the melody was all together. The first time, there was uncertainty about those half notes all lining up together. So melody people, again, we're just gonna play the first 2 bars of A, and I want you to focus on counting 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Right on the beat, right on time. First 2 bars of A, melody people. 1, 2, 3.
What's cool having the composer here is if you've got a question about how the music is supposed to sound or why he wrote something, he's there to tell you his interpretation, what he was thinking when he wrote that part. And you essentially get a view of how he was thinking it's going to sound and how much it's changed and evolved since day one.
From what we know about those first 8 bars, what do you think is the correct interpretation of those first 8 bars? Break down the wall.
Johnson, who writes primarily for band and orchestra, is an advocate for experience-based education and travels across the United States to inspire young musicians to pursue their goals and dreams. He has traveled to 40 U.S. states and 3 countries, demonstrating and educating students of all ages about the composing process.
So those pianos were a lot better that time. Now when we get to H, that needs to be everything that you have, really. So don't hold back anything at H. That's our big payoff.
Johnson has composed numerous published works pieces. The visit was funded by the HPS Education Foundation, a grant awarded by both Sally Ross, orchestra teacher, and David Wortman, band teacher. The Northview musicians were well prepared for their guest composer, having rehearsed some of his compositions, in addition to wearing their Northview blue shirts printed with Composer Project 2020. According to Sally Ross, it was important for the orchestra and band students to experience firsthand the music venture with composer Johnson. She stated the young musicians gained fresh knowledge from this experience as they learned about the composition from the beginning stages to the actual publication and performance. She also said it was important for the students to realize that not all composers are dead, as we grow up listening to music created by composers who have passed on. Additionally, composer Darryl Johnson II, as a talented African American, proved to the students that the world of music is a beautiful blend of diverse music and diverse musicians.
We may also discuss composition-related issues in greater depth where time allows. Additionally, or in place of, there are various other activities and talks available that can be included depending on your preferences and the time frame we have to work with. These supplemental activities can be found in the Composition Experience Handbook. The goal is to create a memorable experience that motivates and inspires the students and broadens their outlook as they learn how the music they perform and listen to comes to them. As you cycle each class through your program at 2 to 4 year intervals, the Composition Experience is a great option to punctuate the compositional and career components of your curriculum before passing your students on to the next level.
Darryl is a native Southern Californian whose early interest in music led him to study numerous instruments and eventually music theory, composition, and orchestration. He has fostered a growing interest in diverse musical styles and draws his inspiration from daily life.
When you're made to do something and it's who you are, it's just, it comes to you. Like I just can think, like I'll listen to something in an elevator and the sound of the elevator will give me an idea. And I'll just be like, I want to write that.
This inspiration has brought about a fresh, personal style that hits upon notes from old, new, popular, and traditional styles, all woven seamlessly together. Darryl's music has been heard in concert halls, marching band fields, and in the world of multimedia. Today, his primary interest involves bringing new music to performing groups. And through the Meet the Composer program, Darryl travels the country to work with students and conductors, discussing his compositions, answering questions, and giving insight to his work.
One of the reasons I like to visit schools is to help students understand the composer's intent, help them learn to interpret and understand the way music is written, how it's written, why it's written, and how it should be interpreted.
If you're interested in trying the Composition Experience with your students, please contact me. I'd love to work with you.